Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, everybody at home. Hope you're nice and relaxed. Patrick Van Straten certainly is in his Oxford College hoodie. Oh, just showing off there. I went to Oxford. I studied classics.
Clever. Rain Man.
Quite pathetic.
You're ginger, you're Scottish. Shut up.
Chris Hamill's also here. He's going to be answering your questions. So is Van Straten, and so am I. First one comes from Flazua. What a name, special name, Flazua. He says...
You do say that every week, but...
I do say it every week, but this one is particularly good. If you had to swap one player from your club's starting 11 with a player from your club's biggest rival starting 11, who would you take and who would you swap?
Has to be our biggest rival,
Has to be your biggest rival. So Van Straten, you have to take someone from Spurs and you have to take someone from Rangers. Spurs.
Ugly scenes.
Van Straten.
Oh, God.
There's some special players in that team.
There are.
Pochettino you could even take.
I was actually just thinking I might swap Wenger for Pochettino. But no, I think I'll stick to the rules and I'll swap Petr Cech, as much as I love him, for Hugo Lloris. He's a lot younger. He's quick off his line. He's a great keeper. Shot. I think that's who I've got to go for.
Yeah, Petr Cech as
what
well.
About
really bad at his near post.
Ramsey for Ali, Giroud for Kane, no?
I thought about Giroud for Kane. Ramsey for Ali, I don't really care.
Oh, fair. No. Indifferent.
Fair play.
We've got enough thugs in the midfield.
Talking of indifferent, let's see
Celtic, mate. Here we
which
go.
player I'd take from Rangers. This is easily the worst Rangers team of my lifetime.
Yeah.
I'd rather take Robbie Muirhead, who scored 2 against them midweek. Lol. But no, maybe Niko Kranjkov.
Silver Fox.
I don't know, he's got great hair. I'd maybe take him for half an hour a season because his legs are shot to bits.
Absolutely shot to bits. Wasn't he released by QPR about 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, mate. He was playing in the MLS.
So, dearie me. I would go for Sergio Aguero.
Fair enough.
Cripple your opposition's best striker to bring him to Old Trafford, and I'd just send him Wayne, send him Rooney. He's actually been good for a few weeks, but he wanted to go, didn't he?
Quality midweek against West Ham. You were raving about him.
I was, but equally,
club legend
wanted
leave
to go 2 years ago, didn't he? So just let him leave now. He's also getting a bit past his best, and Aguero's probably in the top 5 strikers in the world, so hard to say no.
Yeah,
ruthless.
100%. But who would you take from your team's rivals, and who would you give them? Let us know in the comments below. Next question then, XXgamerswagXX. What a name, this guy is obsessed with games probably, just loves it, so good he's named himself after it. Back to the important thing though, his question, who is the best player that doesn't play in Europe?
Ooh.
Interesting.
Now
That's a great question.
one. I'm going to have to go over to China, heading over to Asia lads. And I'm finding
Go on, impart your wisdom.
a certain man called Alex Teixeira, who left Europe way too early, in his prime.
What, was he 26?
He was on flames as well. He was linked with Liverpool, wasn't he? He was linked with Inter Milan,
Chelsea.
He was scoring goals.
Yeah.
And then big payday comes through and he goes and decides to waste his career in China. He's not on the best form, unsurprising because it's a shit league. Nobody cares about it, honestly. Alex Teixeira, you've only got yourself to blame, but he is a quality player.
Zero sympathy.
Mate,
Hamster.
I'd go along the same lines. We covered Brazil on the Euro Roundup a couple of weeks ago. And I saw Paulinho playing for Tite's Brazil in their little mini renaissance they're having that's seen them jump past Uruguay to the top of the table in the South American qualifiers. And he was great. He put in an all-action performance. He's playing quality next to Renato Augusto, just in front of Fernandinho. I think Renato Augusto is also in China, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah,
so that's 2 out of Brazil's 3 centre mids that play in China.
Ridiculous.
That is mental. And what about Gabriel Jesus as well? He's still playing in Brazil.
Hell of a season as well.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus, obviously he's so good that he is coming to Europe later on this year. He's a fantastic young player. He's so quick, 2-footed, loads of skill. He's slotted into that number 9 role for Brazil already, and that's quite a burden to bear for a young player.
Yeah.
So he looks like being a great talent, but I'd also like to shout out Jovinko, who's been absolutely
great shout.
filthy in MLS
He
for a
went
couple
far
of
too
seasons
soon as
now.
well, didn't he?
Well,
30?
yeah, he's still under 30 even now.
Really?
And he just
No
produces
way.
huge numbers every season. It's absolutely outrageous, so he's got to be a shout.
That is a great shout. Next question comes from a Dutchman, I'm presuming, like Patrick Van Straten. He's told me to pronounce this name, Jelmer van den Tweel.
Has he butchered that?
I didn't tell him to pronounce it like that.
Well, you did. It's spelled Tweel. So, Tweel, I'm going for. If that's what Patrick Van Straten says, that's what goes.
Not what I said.
His question, biggest young talent in the whole of Europe, lads?
Me, that's
It's
broad.
a broad question, so I'm
That
going
is
to put a
extremely
limit
broad.
of 23-year-olds. Under 23s only, I think. And
Yeah,
Van
that's
Straten,
Right.
you're the only man that can lead this off, mate. I can see it in your eyes.
There's so many options. I mean, there's Hector Bellerin, there's
Loves a
Alex
young bit of
Iwobi. Look, I think I've got to go for. I'm between Julian Brandt and Ousmane Dembele.
Yeah. These are two great shouts.
Two fantastic wide players who are tearing up the Bundesliga at the moment. Both excellent dribblers. The amazing thing about Brandt, I think, is that like this is a big guy. Like he's got the presence to take on fullbacks and centre backs. He could probably play through the middle. He's a great dribbler. He's creative. He scores goals. And Ousmane Dembele might be Europe's best dribbler already, and the kid is 19.
Yeah,
incredible.
I think Rojo's still eating the turf from that match pre-season when he put him on his arse.
Rojo's still in China eating it.
Mate, we were drooling over Brandt, weren't we, during the game against Leipzig? A lot of man love for Brandt. Big time.
Hamster, what about you, mate?
I mean, there's loads of options, isn't there? As Pat said, staying in the Bundesliga, you could go for Weigl.
Yeah.
You could go for Dybala. He's still under 23, no? Or at least borderline. Moussa Dembele at Celtic.
Whatever.
But I'm going to go for a man we've covered on Euro Roundup recently. It's Kasper Dolberg. I think for a 19-year-old, he looks like an extremely well-rounded forward. He scored a hat-trick the other week. And each goal had its own little caveat. It was class in its own little way, especially that header. I'm still trying to work out how the fuck that went in. But yeah, I'll go for him, mate.
Kasper Dolberg. I'm going to bring it back.
Naby Keita. Shouts to Naby Keita.
No, he's 25.
He's 21.
Oh, no.
No way.
Naby Keita was 21.
No way is Naby Keita 21.
That's unbelievable. I'm going to come back to Britain for Ethan Ampadu at Exeter City, 15 years old, making his debut in the season in League Two.
Big shout.
Go on, big Ethan. No, but seriously.
Tisdale loves him.
I think probably Joshua Kimmich. Hard to ignore Joshua Kimmich. Having a standout season for Bayern Munich. He was kind of keeping him ticking at the start. 4 goals in 4 games. Carlo Ancelotti loves him. So versatile, plays on the right, defensive midfield, centre half. Already in the German national team setup. I think it's got to be Joshua Kimmich. But what do you guys at home think? Are you going to go for Kimmich? Are you going to go for Ousmane Dembele / Julian Brandt? Or are you going to go for Kasper, the blonde bombshell, Dolberg? You can vote in the poll right now. On the back of that then, Suraz Thapar, he says, who do you think will be the successor to Ronaldo and Messi? He's presumably talking about the next best player in the world here.
It's quite a well-trodden subject, isn't it?
Very well-trodden. So I only want one name from each of you. Christopher Hamill, one name.
Easy. Neymar.
Great shout. Van Straten.
Dybala.
And I'm going to go for Paul Pogba. Let the madness ensue in the comments right now.
Don't encourage him.
Kill him.
Oisin Devlin asks our next question. It's a great name, and it's actually
Irish name.
I think the second question they've had answered on Sunday Vibes. So congratulations, Oisin, in for the big bucks.
Bet they're buzzing.
If you guys were to get revenge on one team, who would it be and why? Quality question. I'm going to say Barcelona.
Of course you are.
Shock.
Barcelona.
2 finals.
2 Champions League finals.
Yes.
They were just so good back then. Man United were probably the second best team in the world and Barcelona were the best, and it was just constant clashing. Pep Guardiola, his tactics were so on point. That team was so good, particularly the first team was incredible that beat us when we were going for back-to-back Champions League final wins after we'd obviously beaten Chelsea in Moscow, and then we went to beat them again.
A little bit of a tangent here, but Gary Neville actually thinks that first Pep Guardiola team, that first Barcelona team, is the best he's seen in recent times. Because it was multifaceted, and it had power. Yeah, counter-attack, but yeah, that's interesting.
They were so good. And then the second one in 2011, of course, when Lionel Messi scored that looping header and Eric Abidal lifted the trophy, we were just completely played off the park.
Yeah, definitely.
They were far better.
Phenomenal Rooney goal, though.
Phenomenal Rooney goal, a little 1-2 with Ryan Giggs, but overall, much better team, and I would just love to beat them in a Champions League final once more. I would absolutely love it. Hamster?
Not happening anytime soon, is it, mate?
Of course it's not.
Well, barring the obvious, Porto, Jose Mourinho's Porto in the UEFA Cup 2003. I'd go for Juventus in more recent times, 2013 at Celtic Park. I think Fergie once said, Italians make you feel like the best team in the world and then beat you 3-0, which is exactly what happened there. And Liechtensteiner, I've never seen so much cheating in my life. I'm livid, mate. Gary Hooper spent more time on the turf in that game than anywhere else. He was eating grass, he was like a cow all game, he was mooing afterwards. But ruthlessness as well, so...
Pato, Manchester United have got to be the team here, surely. We've crushed your hopes and your dreams so many times, over and over and over and over again. 08-09 Champions League semi-final, the 8-2 at Old Trafford.
Well, I mean, looks like they'll crush our dreams of being the 5th best team in the Premier League this season. If they manage to get as high as 5th, mate. The thing is, they're not really significant at the moment, Man United, but it would be funny to kick the shit out of them, especially after that 8 2 a couple of years ago. That was very, very painful.
Harrowing.
But it's just a pity that we can't smash him while Ferguson's still there and send him to the early grave he deserves. But it'll have to be Mourinho instead.
Oh well.
Mourinho?
Yeah.
Why Mourinho?
Because he currently manages Man United.
Oh, right, okay, so you get revenge with United.
Pato, not like you to jump straight into the deep end.
Fuck
Way too
Ferguson, he's
far.
a old alcoholic piece of
Oh my god, some bleeping
Wrap
going on
it,
in there.
wrap it.
We're going to wrap this now. Cut it. Christopher Hamill's best mate has messaged in now. Byrney boy, he says, who do you think is the best player that has never started an international match? Let's keep this one short
Probably
and
me, mate.
sweet. Seeing as it's your
Bit
best
like
mate,
myself.
Hamster, why not answer it?
I'm going to go for one of Celtic's former 3 amigos. It's Paolo Di Canio.
Never got a game for Italy, wow.
No, a little bit of a fascist though. So.
a big shout.
Pato?
Mikel Arteta. Like, he was a quality player.
Yeah,
I mean, I
course,
can
yeah.
understand why he didn't get in that Spain team, but he was good enough to play international football. That is a bit disappointing.
Yeah, to be that consistent for 10 years and not get a cap.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely
Slap,
ridiculous.
slap.
I'm going to go for Steve Bruce. Extremely average manager, but what a player he was at
Didn't he
his
score
time.
19 goals in a season once?
Absolutely outrageous.
Incredible player. How he never got a cap for England is disgusting. There we have it, Byrney boy. Hope you enjoyed the question. Terrible wrap up. Final question of the day. Get in, ladies and gentlemen. Van Straten's excited,
I'm always
written all over his
ecstatic.
face. Comes from Avyaaneesh Rai or Rai. Could be either pronunciation, I don't know. Fingers crossed it's Rai, who says, what do you think is going to come first? The US winning their first World Cup or England winning their second World Cup? Brilliant question, Avyaaneesh. And I'm going to throw it to Hamill. He looks excited at the
Thank
prospect.
God you threw that to Hamill, mate.
This is a difficult question because it's not happening for either team in the next 50 years, is it?
Ooh.
Especially with England appointing Southgate. Hilarious. Mate, I think they're definitely going to make progress, the US. They will catch England up to an extent. We saw a little bit of a progression under Klinsmann at the last World Cup.
Yeah.
And the fans got behind them in historic numbers. So that did rouse an unprecedented interest across the US. I think that's important. It's got to become more ingrained in their culture.
Yeah.
But I think they're taking a bit of a step back by reappointing Bruce Arena,
Agreed,
former LA
definitely.
Galaxy manager. He's not a fan favourite. I think the international setup's in a little bit of turmoil, but they have got talented individuals, the likes of Pulisic and Green, so maybe they can do good things. England will continue to underwhelm, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, I don't agree with you about Arena Klinsmann. I don't necessarily think Arena's a great manager.
Can disagree.
But I think Klinsmann's a dreadful manager.
Really?
They did make progress
than
under him in
Arena.
the first 3 years. The last 2 years, they've been appallingly bad. And they did need a change. But the talent level is improving, like you say. Christian Pulisic, that's actually the first time they've had one of the world's best young talents. Like, Freddie Adu was hyped, but he was never at this level. And they've got, you Darlington Nagbe's, Julian Green,
Linked with Celtic,
Bobby
actually.
Wood. They've got tons of decent players,
Yeah.
and that will only improve as time goes on. I'm not sure they're going to win the World Cup anytime soon, but I'd back them to at least become one of the better sides in the world over the next 20, 30 years.
Has Pele ever cradled Pulisic in his arms
Well,
like he did to Freddie?
probably dreamt about it.
Probably not.
Well, maybe.
He probably
Can't
lied
stand
about
or
it.
hold things,
Well, that was the
can
hallmark of a
He probably,
world-class
he
manager.
probably lied about it, no,
Down
Pele.
there.
That's all I'm saying. Fraudster. Anyway, I would say that England are going to do it before. I don't know how,
they?
but
England.
it's going to get to a tipping point, in my opinion, where we're doing so badly. Whether we miss out on a World Cup
Has
or
that
miss
not
out on
already
another
happened?
Euros,
Yeah.
no, seriously, I think we're going to hit an edge.
The worst
the
is
same
yet
way
to come.
Germany did. The worst is clearly yet to come because we've just hired Gareth Southgate. But I think we're going to get to a tipping point where we'll have systematic change in England throughout all tiers.
Yeah,
and I think
I
that
agree
will
with
come
that.
eventually. And I think that will come before America progress to the top tier of football teams.
Maybe it'll happen with this influx of top-class managers in the Premier League. Maybe Pep will save us.
But they could have hired Ralph Rangnick this time, and instead they went for Southgate.
Yeah,
mate.
but Southgate, proven loser.
This is like when
Middlesbrough, relegated.
This is the rare rational argument.
It's like when they
I
hired
genuinely agree with them.
McLaren over O'Neill. Just ridiculous things.
Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'm going to go for England.
Cheers.
So there we have it. Another episode of Sunday Vibes in the bag. Thanks very much for your questions at home. Please send us some video questions. We're desperate for them. Send them into our Facebook page. It's Football Daily over there. Make sure you do that. You're more likely to be featured. Thanks very much to Chris Hamill for joining me.
You are welcome.
Patrick Van Straten. He's off to Oxford again now. Read a few more books. I'll see you later.
Idiot.
Bye.
Ooh, books.